Welcome viewers, this is Winch here. Glad you could join me for the Destiny review from my perspective. Finally getting around to reviewing this game after it being released now for a week. Have roughly 20 hours of gameplay logged thus far in both the single player and the multiplayer combined. And I have still not beat the game on single player. I'm working to do so, but trying to balance both and trying to get some combination gameplay here to show you so I can compile a review. Hopefully articulate a unbiased review of this game, because there's no question there's a lot of hype out there with this game. It's certainly one of the biggest game releases we've seen on next gen, if not the biggest anticipated game release, and lots of controversy out there already with this game. Now right now I will, about 9 minutes into this video, I will be discussing the multiplayer segment of this video. I didn't want to break it up in two videos because I want to give a comprehensive review detailing both the single player cooperative elements of the game and multiplayer. I think they go hand in hand, and I don't want to mention one without the other and not show any gameplay of it, because both have their strengths and weaknesses. Now, in terms of the hype with this game, there's no question that we all want something new with the game, and I think Destiny has delivered that. And that being from Bungie, coming from its Halo roots, I have to give them credit for going in a different direction and stepping outside their comfort zone and not just regurgitating another Halo number in another Halo game, and actually creating something that we haven't seen before. And there are elements in this game that are truly unique that a lot of people are giving credit for, myself included in that. And that being particularly the loot system, as I'm showing you my loot, my character, and how you can take your loot that you acquire in a single player type environment or cooperative environment and take that into a player versus player environment, which also creates some challenges and some issues currently in the matchmaking, which I'll talk about later. Now, first and foremost, we have to talk about the visuals of this game. It's an absolutely jaw-dropping, beautiful game. It is probably, I'd have to say, the best looking game I have ever played, and this is really what we expected to see with the next gen type of experience. It's true 1080p. It's the art design is something. It's something that is award winning. It should be award winning, and in terms of the consideration for this game being a game of the year contender, I think the art design should certainly be an aspect of it that is given due credit, because it's unbelievable to me. The biggest experience that I take from it myself, because I really haven't played Halo games. I don't play single player games that often. Primarily I'm a Battlefield 4 player. Primarily I like multiplayer first person shooters. But what I've found going through this game is that, one, I really truly enjoy playing by myself in a single player type environment, as well as with my friends and collecting loot and the weapons. I really enjoy those aspects of it. But what I find, how the game connects me emotionally to it, is truly wanting to explore the environments. I feel like I'm in a different environment, with this being, planetary type solar systems and a sci-fi type of element. I really found myself drawn to the experience, unlike any other game I've played before. So that to me is probably the strongest aspect of just the game itself. These visuals are just second to none. Now with that also, there's a big criticism, because this game's at 30 frames a second, which is absolutely unbelievable to me, having come from games like Battlefield 4, which are available on next gen, that offer a seamless kind of experience that we have on PC or on next gen console, having 60 frames a second, nearly 1080p I think it is. It looks really good, but with Destiny we don't get that, so that's a big setback, and a big criticism I have of the visuals as well in this game. Now what I'm showing you here in the gameplay are just overall how seamless this game can be, that you can stumble into, as this is PVE gameplay, cooperative gameplay, you can just stumble into an event that is available to all players that are playing at any given time, any given moment, on the specific portion of the gameplay or the progression you are on the PVE experience. They call these public events. I've stumbled into a couple of them now. They are rare. They're only available certain times of the day, but it's really neat to see the collaborative efforts of everybody in the area that's inside your party or outside your party joining in and experiencing this gameplay. because there's a big reward if you can actually pull these off that you can trade in for loot. And that really kind of leads into the topic. One of the greatest aspects of this game is the loot. You really have a desire to go out and earn all the pieces of equipment, all the weapons that are out there, and you can't trade anything, unlike other MMOs that we've seen. And MMO is a controversial topic because a lot of people criticize that this game is truly an MMO. I'm not really going to dive into that. To me, I like the scale that the game is in terms of the public events, as you're seeing here again, the fire teams that are out there working with your friends. You meet a lot of people in this game. A lot of my friends I've met just stumbling into playing with them. The communication is great. You add them on your friends list, it's seamless. Everything's so seamless in this game. It's so polished. There's no glitches, there's no bugs for the most part. They did a lot of good quality assurance with this game, unlike other titles we've seen. Battlefield 4 being one of them. This game is it's turnkey, ready to go for you to enjoy and experience, and it's the loot in it. When you see somebody at the end of a match or going through the gameplay and they get maybe a legendary type weapon, or even better than that, an exotic type weapon, you can't help but feel jealous and envious of that, because those weapons are truly unique because you can level them up, and there's so much that goes into them, those weapons in general. Overall, in terms of the weapons, the loot, it's all very desirable, but it's not what you pursue solely. Like a game like Borderlands 2, I felt running through it, that was my sole objective, was just to get better guns. Whereas this is more of an overall experience of the game. Of course, at the end of this video, I'll have my positives and negatives. But there are some negatives. I mean, boss battles like this can be a little tedious. The overall repetition of the gameplay is a consideration when you're respawning on various segments of the level. Whenever you complete segments, you start over again, having been through that segment of the map already. It's a legitimate criticism, and it can feel a little bit dry or repetitious for certain players. But that's really what it boils down to in the gameplay is you have to like this kind of game. You have to like the sci-fi element of it. If you like realistic shooters, this probably won't be for you. You have to kind of like the grind aspect of it, because it is a grind in a lot of respects. I mean, trying to get loot and farming for it. Some people know good spots to do it. Personally, I kind of like to stumble along this stuff and just earn it myself. I don't really like to farm stuff, but you know, to each its own. The game can be played how you want to play it and how you want to experience it at the pace you want to experience it. And a lot of games force you into a linear type progression and force you into a certain type of gameplay. But on the flip side of that, I don't think Destiny does that. But it is not like it's not your typical sandbox type game, which is kind of where real MMOs are. It does force you in certain ways. I'm not saying you're completely free, but I feel like you can play the game at the pace you want and experience it at the pace you want to go on the level you progress. I've seen people not put this game down, play it 7 hours a day, day after day after day. I mean, that's a slight bit exaggeration. My friends, what I'm trying to say is the game is very well received, very popular, and people, they dream about this game. I mean, that's how much people get attached to this game. I'd probably characterize myself in that too. I found myself the other night waking up thinking about this game, wanting to play it. You spend time thinking about it. It's just one of these games that draws you in and you genuinely enjoy the experience. Now, let's talk about the multiplayer aspect of this, otherwise known as a PvP. There's various types of game modes, controls. I'll be showing you highlights here from. But there's other types of game modes too. Team Deathmatch, Free For All, of course. But one called Salvage, where you can actually revive your teammates. But it's smaller type gameplay, 3 versus 3 as opposed to 6v6. But let's just show you right here the problem with PvP. I'm gonna hit this twice. Kill trading, and otherwise known as netcode, is absolutely horrendous in this game. It's some of the worst I've seen, and coming from Battlefield 4, that says a lot. Let me show you that clip there again. Kill trading is just so prominent. However, hopefully this can get fixed, but I've heard very little from Bungie development about why this is the case or if they're going to fix this. So fair caution right here. To me, this is the biggest criticism of this. But focusing on the good, this is a highly competitive multiplayer experience. And there are some damn good players out there already with, after a week's launch, some very high level players, which again kind of goes into the negative aspect of it. The balancing is also a huge consideration. When you have gear that's supposed to be, quote, nerfed from what you pick up on the single player experience or wherever you get it, it's supposed to be somewhat balanced to eliminate a big advantage for the players, but I really don't see that happening a lot of times. I think it all comes down to whoever has a better gear a lot of the times. And this is also being consideration whenever they release certain events like the Iron Banner or Bungie type events exclusively, where there are no tweaks to your balancing. What you have is what you get, and so whoever's got the best loot is going to win. But that also adds a different element. It's kind of interesting. Again, it motivates you to get good gear and work for it. But the multiplayer maps are incredible. They're very well designed. They look great. Even with the lower player counts, the actions always go on, because again, a criticism I have a little bit is this mini map up there. It's always on. It's like a threat detector, I think is what they call it. So you always have kind of a rough idea of when an enemy's coming, and you feel like you're watching that really a little too much sometimes. But overall, I find myself enjoying the player versus player experience. It's challenging for me. I'm not that good at it. And there's a lot of players that are, of course, they're coming from a different type of mindset too. The point I'm getting at is the multiplayer is unique. It's not like Call of Duty. It's not like Battlefield. The time to kill is much different in this game. And you have to understand how your character works. And how to utilize your classes, which, again, that's a whole nother consideration right there, is what class to run, how to load it out, and how to play with that. So overall, Destiny, do you buy this game or not? Well, let's just recap the positives and the negatives, but it's a strong buy in my opinion. It's a masterpiece. It's one that you don't want to forget. The exploration-driven experience, the visuals, the immersive music, the competitive multiplayer, the community experience, the loot system, character class systems. Overall, it's just one of the best games created. But the negative is only 30 frames per second. There's no PC availability right now. Lackluster story is a bit weak, and the voice acting as well. The balancing, the PvP issues I mentioned, but overall, you're going to lose some sleep with this game, and it's going to conflict with your personal life. So fair warning there. Hope you guys like this video. Please like and subscribe. Destiny, it's a buy.